So another wonderful guest with us here. I can't say it because I can say it on the streets of London, but anyway, another wonderful guest here with us who has actually been presenting at the National Emergency Briefing on Climate Change and Nature. If you could say who you are and where you're from.
So I'm Paul Behrens. I'm from the University of Oxford, and I work in food systems, climate change, nature recovery.
What some of the headlines were you trying to give to the politicians who were attending the event today?
Yeah, so really it was to let politicians know the depth of the problems that we're facing. So starting off talking about what are the serious issues that we are facing in terms of food security. So, for example, the chances of multi-breadbasket failure that go up as the world warms, the increases in the cost of living because food gets more and more expensive, the issues with civil unrest if food prices go too high. But then also to say, well, what can we actually do about this? Because, you know, clearly we're facing a scary future and we need to know what we're facing. So we need to own up to that and face up to that, but we also need to know what we need to do about it and then where the courage is going to come from to take that action. So in terms of what we can do about it, we need a great food transformation. And we need four main pillars. So we need a change in diets, we need reductions in food waste, we need improvements in the production of food and making that as healthy as possible, and increasing food resilience. But when we look across all of that, plant-rich diets is the biggest opportunity that we have, especially in a high-income country like the UK, or for much of Europe, or for the US. Plant-rich diets would reduce agricultural emissions around 60%. In the UK, you'd save an area of land almost the size of Scotland. And we need it for the resilience in the future as well. So we need it in order to draw down carbon on the land and also roll with the punches of climate change. So, and I did also talk about why, yes, it's in our own best interest for the environment, but it's also in our best interest for health, because currently unhealthy diets is costing tens, if not hundreds of billions of pounds per year. And also in terms of the farmers, because farmers across the UK face a very, very difficult farming situation moving forwards when we look at the extreme weather events and being able to produce food on that land. But let's face it, it's never been a very good income for them either historically. And so if we're able to change the system so that farmers are paid for the nature and climate benefits that they deliver, and they can be true land managers and spark a rural renaissance, then we'd actually be able to address many of our different problems. And we find that incomes would actually go up, not down, for farmers across the country if we did it right.
So there are two big lobbies in the world. There's the fossil fuel industry, but I remember reading the Financial Times, was it 2 years ago, maybe 1 year ago, that the actual sort of agricultural lobby, or the companies that fuel agriculture in a sense, in the way we have come to know it, intensive agriculture, that they spend even more than the fossil fuel companies, which was quite outrageous. There's a big fight going on over energy, and probably with agriculture there is a big fight going on too, and a lot of disinformation linked with that, of course. I mean, people have tried to change the agricultural systems in some of the Nordics. I think there was a big fight in the Netherlands a couple of years ago. So it's an interesting battle, because what you're unveiling or unveiled today was a vision of a very different farming system in the UK that would be good for climate action, but also good for health and incomes. But some people might not want that.
Yeah, so that's a huge issue. And so we see a lot of misinformation, as you say, in agriculture. So the agricultural lobby in the US is actually bigger than the defense industry's lobbying. So it's a massive, massive influence. And so, yeah, we have to really address this. Now, some countries are moving towards doing this. So the Danish have a Danish plant-based action plan, which aims to target all the way across the food supply chain and improve the production and the consumption of plants. Because actually what this is becoming is a national security issue. Having people struggling with their diet, having people not able to afford their food is clearly a national security issue. And so really we have to address a lot of that misinformation. Now, that misinformation is incredibly nuanced and clever. So what we see is that they are targeting specific groups in society on social media through influencers, and they're often targeting younger people. And the reason why they target younger people is that's when habits are formed in terms of your diet, and then it's harder to change in the future. So what they're doing is they're really sort of targeting men between 18 and 26. And so we really need a strong, forceful pushback against this. And that's one of the reasons why we had the National Emergency Briefing today, of course, is that the media isn't reflecting the scientific information, and it's not even reflecting what most people across many countries want in terms of a change in the action on climate change, on agriculture, on nature.
And you, in terms of meat, you weren't saying, oh, well, you're going to have to live all your life without meat. It was that you live your life with far less meat in your diet, correct?
Yeah.
But let me ask you one question. The cost of living crisis that we hear about now,
Yeah.
I just confirm, climate change has a footprint on that.
Yes. Climate change impacts cost of living through food price increases and in disruptions to food supply.
Paul, that's lovely. Last one point. We've got a campaign called Make Science Great Again, which is aimed at some of the populist politicians in the world who would like to misuse climate science or play down climate science as being slightly irrelevant, even cancelling science culture. We need peer-reviewed science, I think, more than ever to be our North Stars. So we'd like to give you a cap. Which is Make Science Great Again. It's deliberately provocative because it's red, but we don't believe that Donald Trump can own the colour red. It's just a colour, right?
Make red great again.
Yeah, make red great again. But thank you very much indeed for being with We Don't Have Time.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Nick.